Good morning, students. So in the last class we have discussed with the first module, and we have ended that first module, right? So we discussed the basics of operating system, the different functions, operations of an operating system, and the different classes of an operating system, right? And we have also discussed what are the different resource allocation strategies of resources, right? So in now today's so in today's class we will start with the second module, which is process management, right? So as I already defined in the first module, the process is the executable form of a program, right? So what is a program is a set of instructions which are given to a computer system to do a particular task, right? So if you want to execute, if you want to uh, print any statement using a C program, right? So we'll write a simple program by using a function printf. Then we will that program, a higher level program, will be given to a compiler. The compiler will convert that higher level language into a machine language, right? And sometimes we use assemblers, where the assembly level language is converted into machine level language, right? So once it is converted into machine level language, and it will be linked with a linker, and a dot C file or dot C++ file or dot Java file, a higher level language file, will be converted into dot exe file, right? So once the program gets converted into dot exe file, then we can say that executable file itself is a process, right? So this executable file will be given to central processor unit, and the central processor unit will execute this process, right? So this is the basic definition of a process. What is a process? It is an executable. Very simplest definition of a process is it's an executable form of a program is called a process, right? So in this module we will see what are the different techniques of process management. What is a process? What are the process states? And what are the different transitions of a process, or how the transition between the different process states take place, right? So let us start the second module, which is process management. So what is a process? Process is an execution of a program using a set of resources, right? So once the program is written, so that program is given to a compiler, then a compiler will convert that higher level language into machine language, and it will be converted into .exe file. So once the program gets converted into process, then it will be given to a CPU for execution, right? So whenever the process is given to a CPU, then process will request some of the resources, right? So it may request for some memories, it may request for some IO devices, right? So even CPU will also act as a resource, right? So after allocating these resources, and process is forced to execute itself on a central processor unit, right? And once the process gets executed, so the task, we can say the task is done, and results are ready for further processing, or the results can be stored in a memory, right? So what is a process? It is an execution of a program using a set of resources. Program gets executed with the help of different resources, right? Several execution of the same program may be present in the operating system at the same time. So these executions constitute different processes, right? So I can say that means in the first module we have seen that a computer system parallelly runs multiple programs, right? So whenever the multiple programs are running, so we require multiple processes to be executed on the CPU, right? So a user cannot handle these multiple processes which are running in the computer system, right? So we need something else which will take care of these all multiple processes. That something else itself is an operating system. So operating system will take care of all these multiple processes which are running on the computer system, and whenever they need different resources, operating system will allocate those resources to those processes, right? So multiple processes or programs, you can say, they start running on the computer system with the help of operating system, right? So that happens when users initiate independent execution of a program, each on its own data. Let us say a user wants to execute 5 programs, right? So 5, let us say they are independent on each other. That means one of the result of one program doesn't depend on the other program results, right? Or the execution of one program doesn't depend on the results of other program, right? So such programs are called as independent programs. So these independent programs can be run on a same computer system by allocating different resources, right? So those resources will be allocated by the operating system. And sometimes it also happens when a program that is coded with the concurrent programming techniques is being executed, right? So there are two types of what we call programs. One is called a concurrent program, second one is sequential programs. So what is sequential programs? So sequential, as the name itself tells, they are in order, right? So they will be executed one after the other, right? So before execution of second program, the first program needs to be finished, or you can say concurrent statement execution also say, right? So before execution of second statement, the first statement needs to be processed first, right? So these are sequential programs or the sequential statements. But in concurrent statements, we call them as concurrent statements or concurrent programs, in which all the statements or all the programs are independent on each other, right? And they run parallelly, right? So none of the statement will wait to for the previous statement to be over, right? The kernel allocates resources to processes and schedules them for use of the CPU. This we have already seen in the first module, right? What is the operation of an operating system? The main operating system operation is scheduling. Scheduling is done by the part of an operating system which we call it as scheduler, right? So scheduler will select a particular process or a program, and a central processor unit is allocated to that process or a program, right? Then the execution starts, right? So this will be done by the heart of an operating system, which is a kernel, right? Now we will see what are the programs and what are the processes. Program, as I already said, a program is a set of instructions, right? Written either in a higher level language or assembly level language, right? So these set of instructions are to be converted into a executable file, right? So executable file contains the machine code, right? So that the code which can be understood by the machine, right? So initially we will write the program. We write a program and it will be given to assembler or a compiler. Later it will be given to a linker. Then once the linker output we get, so then program gets converted into a process, right? So what is a program? A program is a passive entity, right? It doesn't do anything, right? Until and unless that program is converted into a process, I cannot call program as a active entity, right? Program is always a passive entity, but process is what? And process is an active entity, because all the resources which are allocated by the operating system, they will be allocated to a process, not to the program, right? That does not perform any actions by itself, right? So program is a passive entity that does not perform any action by itself. It has to be executed if the actions it calls for are to take place, right? So if actions want to take place, if you are performing any one, let us say one controlling operation, right? So if you are controlling a plant by writing a program, right? So program itself cannot do anything, right? So once that program is converted into a process, then process can control the operations of the different plants, right? Or the plants to which you have written the code. A process is an execution of a program, right? Or an executable form of a program is nothing but a process. It actually performs the actions specified in a program, right? So process is a active entity and program is a passive entity, right? So and the program performs the actions the process performs the actions specified in a program, right? So first we will write a program, then we will give it to compiler or assembler, then later it will be given to a linker. Then output of the linker is nothing but the executable file. That executable file itself is called as a process. Okay. So I hope you understood the difference between a program and a process, and to which entity the different resources will be allocated. Okay. Next we'll go to the next slide, in which we are going to discuss what is a process in detail. Okay. So let us discuss next what is a process, right? So we will discuss what is a process in detail now with an example, right? So let us treat a program P which is going to perform some operations. Let us say it is trying to initiate a file, right? So file name is info, and one integer is defined, that is an item. Okay. Then first we will open the file. So even you want to do any operation with the file, first you need to open it either in read mode or a write mode, right? So once here open is a command or a function, you can say you are trying to open a file name file called info, and it is opened in read mode. You don't have a facility to write, right? So or you want to add, if you cannot edit it if you open it in a read mode, right? Either only what you can do with that file is you can read the content of that particular file, right? And while you are going to perform some operation here, while the end of file, until the end of file gets reached, you are going to read some item, right? So item you can declare it as integer, right? So let us say if you want to read the a letter or a sentence, you can take, right? So if you want to read a sentence or a letter, you can say, right? So which is mentioned by the item number, right? So if you read is again on function which helps you to read the content of a file, and the content present at the item number, right? So and that content will be printed, right? So it is not a complete program, just he has given one a small a snapshot of a program. He has not written the complete program here. So later he until and unless the end of the file is reached, you can read the content of the file, and you can read the statement, or you can say a letter which is present at the item place. Okay, then you will print it. Once the end of file is reached, then you will print that entire content what you read from the file. Then you will halt the program, or you will terminate the code, right? So here file is present somewhere in the disk, right? So let us treat this is a secondary memory, or a secondary memory itself, right? So where a file is stored, right? Then the address space of the program contains instructions, data area, and the stack of a P. What is a stack? Stack is again a temporary memory which will come into picture whenever the functions are called, right? So let us say read, open, these are all the functions, right? So when these functions are called or the procedures are called, then stack will come into picture, right? So address space of the program P contains the different instructions and the data area, right? So these program will be given to a CPU, right? So CPU, why it is see the color of this CPU, it is very what you can say light compared to the other three boxes, this one, and this one. What do you mean by this? Why it is made it in a light color? Because CPU is not always busy with a program P, right? So because more number of or multiple number of programs run in a computer system, right? So CPU cannot be allocated to one program, to only one program for a longer time, right? So it will be allocated to for one program for a certain time. So once that time stamp is over, then CPU is released from that program, and it will be allocated to some other program, right? So in the for that same reason, For the same reason, CPU is made in a light color here, right? Next, so here once the program starts running, right, or the executable file which is called a process, when it starts running on the CPU, then here as per the instructions of a program or a process, you can say, it will the operating system will allocate different resources to those programs or a process, right? So printer, he has shown only one resource there, which is printer, because in a printer there's one instruction called printer, so it will print the read item from the file on the computer system, or sometimes if you want to take the printout of that, you need a printer resource, right? So that printer resource will be allocated to the user program by the operating system, right? So a program and an abstract view of its execution, right? So this is a program, right? And the instructions which are stored in a memory, right? So they will brought from the memory, and the CPU will be allocated to that different instructions, and when they start running, when they start executing on the central processor unit, then so as per the instructions, the different resource will be allocated, and the execution of the program will be terminated, and the results will be available to the user, right? So this is a simple form of a process, how exactly the process or the program runs in the computer system, right? So what is a process? It's an execution program using resources allocated to it, as I already defined it in the previous slide. So when a user initiates execution of a program, the OS creates a new process and assigns a unique ID to it, right? So here operating system, what it does, it will create a new process once the user initiates execution of a program, because operating system has to handle multiple number of programs or processes, right? So let us say there are 4 programs running in a computer system, right? So when the execution of first program starts, the operating system will not be always busy with this computer the first program, right? So it has to create a new process which will handle the first program, right? So then it will release itself, right? And it will create one more process, and that second process will handle the second program, right? Like this, the operating system will create a more and more number of processes which will handle the different programs which are running in the computer system, okay? And it will allocate the unique ID to those processes. Why this unique ID is required, later we will understand when we discuss process control block, right? So there are different fields associated with the process, right? So why these IDs are required? Once the termination of those process or program get over, then operating system must know which program or process has finished its execution, right? So with the help of these IDs, it will come to know that which process or program's execution is over. Then now it allocates some resources to the process, right? So once the process is running in the central processor unit, then it will start executing, it will start allocating the resources to these processes, sufficient memory to accommodate the address space of a program, and some devices such as a keyboard or a monitor to facilitate interaction with the user, right? So operating system will allocate as per the requirement of a process or a program. It will allocate the different resources to those programs, like a sufficient memory which can hold the entire process, and the keyboard or a monitor whenever the IO device are requested by the user program, okay? So in next slide we will discuss what are the process components, right? So till now we have seen what is a process and how exactly the execution of those processes happen in operating system or a computer system, okay? So we'll move to the next slide, in which we are going to discuss the different components of an operating process, okay?